if you want to be a 10x web developer so AI doesn't take your job, you need to learn how to debug your code properly. Let me explain. Now there's a few ways you can debug your code when working with JavaScript or JavaScript framework. You could use the proper JavaScript debugger, like this article that Chrome has published, would basically go through how you can use the Chrome debugger, and I'm gonna do a little demo here. So this is what their example does, is adds two numbers, but it actually does not them correctly. So here I can open the DevTools in Chrome, and I can either add the debugger somewhere in, like if I had access to the code, I would add debugger here, and this basically will stop the execution of JavaScript right there where I add the debugger. Or you can add breakpoints here, and I'm gonna add a breakpoint on the, when I click. If I click here, then this stops the execution of JavaScript. Now I can go line by line and see what the code actually does and how I can fix it. Now, this is a great way to debug code. I would recommend using the JavaScript debugger whenever possible. Here we can see how this goes over, and you can resume it. I mean, all the debuggers are pretty much the same. You can step over, or you can go into a function, and let's see. So here we can see the value of added one is 5, but it's a string. And then, oh, this is another string, and this adds two strings together. That's why we get 51. So in order to fix this, we need to get the actual number of these things, and these are just getting the value of an input field, which is going to be a string. So this is the issue. If I had access to the code, I could change it. If you can, you should use the JavaScript debugger. This is a great tool. It allows you to do a lot of stuff and figure out why your code is behaving the way you want it to behave. Or you could use console logs like a normal developer, where you basically add console logs wherever you want to see if the code reaches somewhere, or the value of something. Like I want to see here the response data. Here you can see it comes to this point, and the length of the items that are returned for YouTube are 20. So this is a good way. I use this mostly if I want to debug stuff, and it does the job. But sometimes if it's something more complicated, and or if it's something more complex, I would recommend using JavaScript debugger. But yeah, this is what I usually do. But the great thing about the Chrome DevTools is you can do so much more. I don't actually remember how I really got into using the console and the network and all the other tabs in the Chrome DevTools, but I think it was because I started working with JavaScript and jQuery before all the frameworks came out, and using the console, especially like in the WordPress websites, using the console was very useful way to figure out some stuff or try JavaScript to see how it works. So for example, I have here my blog, and here we can see all the elements, right? This is my HTML for my blog. If some CSS is not right, for example, I have some space here that I don't want it to have. So I can see this is overflowing. So this is the nav bar, and I'm gonna try just adding max width of 100%. That doesn't work. 100. What was it? I can see here that this also doesn't work. I can try overflow hidden. This does work, but it hides most of my header, which I guess is fine. But yeah, so I would try CSS stuff like this and see what works, because I can see the changes immediately on my website. Now again, this is a little bit old school, but like I probably here, if I actually want to fix this, I probably want this to be on mobile, to be a burger icon. So I'm gonna just try and hide it, and this is now fine. See, it works. I'm gonna remove these. Great, it's fixed. Now I just need to add a burger icon somewhere, but I can't really do that here. Actually, I can add like I can edit all of this, but the thing is, if you refresh, it all goes back the way it was. So I use this a lot if I want to try CSS out, see if it works, see how it affects the website, and then I can copy all of the CSS and add it by Tailwind or whatever I'm using, into my actual code and save it. Now that's one way. This is what I use mostly from the Chrome DevTools. The other thing is the console here is basically just a JavaScript playground. You can define new variables. You can see I have a lot of this is what I tried before. So this is basically your JavaScript playground where you can try stuff. And I would try if I have like a big array of something, and now this is defined here. If I want to like filter, and I can see the results. And I use this a lot as well, especially if I just want to try whatever works, see like any errors or how I can get to something that I want to get. There's other ways you can do this. You can basically have your own, you can run Node on JavaScript files easily, but this is what I'm used to. And the reason I'm used to this is because in WordPress you have jQuery, and jQuery is in here, so you can basically manipulate the site from the console. We open up, this should be a WordPress site, right? Let's try. So this is jQuery, and you can select elements and manipulate them and do whatever you want with them. So I try to select all the div elements here. I'm gonna try to select this one, X drop down top fill. Here we can see select only one element, but this is what I would use on WordPress a lot when I was working with WordPress. And because it has jQuery, which is basically like a layer on top of JavaScript to make it even more useful, you can click stuff, you can go around. So if I want to like try this, and you can see how it actually manipulates the website easily. And I was using this a lot when I was working WordPress, and I think the habit stuff here that I can now use it for other stuff in my JavaScript. I can get, like, if I'm getting any data here, I'm not actually making any calls. If I have any API requests made somewhere else, I can get the data from there, put it in here, and just try to manipulate it, see what I need to actually do with the data. So the console log is very useful. There's also a lot of different tools you can use here, which I don't really use anymore. You have all of the browser's objects, like the global objects defined here, like an array, or if you have a window object or a global object defined in your application, you can find it here, which I probably don't have anything on my website. But yeah, that's also very useful. So while I'm here, I want to mention that I also use the network tab and other tabs to actually get like all the requests that are being made. You can see here that this makes HTTP requests to somewhere, and you can see the website is making HTTP requests too. You can figure out a lot of stuff with this. So you can reverse engineer how things work. Basically, you can see all the calls it's making to the API. Now with server rendering components, you can't really do this, but if it is making API requests or any fetch requests, you can find them here. And if you're working on something and want to figure out why an API request is wrong, you can see the response here and what payload was sent, which is very useful. And you can also block certain websites. So what I've usually done in the past is if I have an issue and I want to figure out if when the request fails, for example, if this request fails, how is it affecting my website, I can block this URL or this whole domain, refresh the website, and it's going to give me how exactly this affects my website. There's a lot of other stuff, useful stuff you can use here. You can overwrite the response, but I also want to show this is how a compiled JavaScript usually looks, and this is not really readable, but I will look for stuff that I know that I've written. So a lot of this will actually just be JavaScript. So some of the code here, like this, is something that you would write, and from here I can figure out, okay, maybe this is wrong or whatever. But yeah, it does really help when I'm working with JavaScript or just doing my job and trying to figure out issues and why they happen. Lately there have been new features in Chrome. There is AI infused in all of this. I don't think it's working on my Arc browser. I don't know why this is not working for me, but maybe it's Arc. But you should be able to see this in your console log, and you can actually use AI to understand errors that are happening. All the errors are thrown in the console log, and you can use this tool to actually give you some context about the error if you try to fix it. And there's a lot of other AI tools infused in Chrome now, and the dev tools, which I think does really complement how you can use this. And I don't think enough people are using this, and that's why I wanted to make this video, basically showcasing how I use it, why I find it useful. I hope you find it useful too, and if you are using it and I missed something here, please let me know in the comments below. I've used this throughout my whole career, trying to figure out how issues happen and why, and how to fix them. I love using this, and I hope you see the value in it. But that's been pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy coding. Bye.